Welcome, everybody. This is Grimm Tales Deep Cuts, and I am your host, as always, Gabri. Welcome to another episode. It's another Friday. That means we have another horror movie for you. Unfortunately, I don't think this one's going to be a pleasant one. Every now and then, and you know what? Because I've said that we're going to do everything. We're going to do everything from the top shelf all the way to the bottom shelf. And I guess this so happens to be a bottom shelf film. This is absolutely a bottom shelf film. And that is a damn shame too, because the artwork, I guess, or the stills for the film looked okay. I wouldn't say that the film looked amazing, but the film looked better than what it was. And I think this is one of those films, and I know I've said it on other episodes before. Not on other, probably on other episodes, but definitely the podcast. I've said that there are certain movies that actually annoy me to watch. This was one of them. This was one of those movies that absolutely annoyed me to watch, even though there was an actor in this film that I absolutely loved, and they still couldn't make this film entertaining to me. It is a damn shame when I have to sit here and do these type of movies. There was not many redeeming feats of this film. We'll get into it as we go, and I will discuss it. This, again, I have your attention for the next 15 to 30 minutes. I don't think this episode will take 30 minutes to wrap up, so we'll give it the good 15-minute try. But all in all, that is what we're doing. Tonight we are talking about the film Clown. I believe it's 2015 that this film came out. And damn, it is bad. It is bad, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it here shortly. But before we get into that, I have to get all the other stuff out of the way, of course. So make sure to go to the website huelessvision.com, HUELESSVISION.com. Make sure to go there, check out our merch store, check out all the fresh things that we got going over there. Every other episode from every other show that I do, whether it's game-related, movie-related, or art and creativity-related. I do a lot of different things on Hueless Vision. It's a fun little platform, and I like having it. But Grimm Tales is my baby, and you will be able to find this and all the other Grimm Tales stuff on there as well. So HuelessVision.com. Make sure to find us on all of our other socials as well. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, stay up to date with everything that we do across the board. All of our platforms, every single one of them. They all have their own little highs and lows. So check them out. We try to be as many places as we possibly can, so you guys can get our to get the content that we push out. So, with that said, though, hopefully you guys enjoy my banter, at least, at the very much. I will not spoil the film. Like I've said on other episodes, that I'm going to work on not spoiling too much of the film unless I'm having a deep dive conversation with somebody on the show. If we have somebody on the show and we're going to do a deep dive, then I will announce at the beginning of the show and in the description down below that we are going to have some spoilers ahead in the deep discussion. But on the singular episodes like tonight, we're not going to spoil anything. We're going to leave it up to you by the end of this episode whether or not you want to watch it. So just keep that in mind. But with that said, before I get into any of the other stuff, make sure, again, HuelessVision.com. Check it out. Everything you need to know is there. But with that said, let's get into the conversation about the film Clown. That's right. And what can I say other than this movie was a clown in itself? This movie was bad. Like, there was nothing, like, the acting was horrible. And I absolutely love Peter Stormare. Okay, I love him as an actor. There's so many things that he's been in over the years that I've just adored him in. Whether he's doing action movies, horror movies, he's done a lot of horror movies. Whether he's doing action movies, horror movies, there's some comedies in there as well. He does a lot of voice work for video games and animations as well. He's an all-around underrated actor, very underrated actor. And I don't know. And he's got an amazing, I love his accent. It's just, I don't know. He's one of my top favorites. I enjoy him as an actor. I'm a fan. And even he could not make this, he couldn't save this film in any way. There was no saving it. Like, I get it. This was a paycheck. That's what it was probably to him. I don't think this was a passion project for him. The people who watched this film and said that this was an artsy not unforgettable horror film, I don't think we watched the same film. I really don't think we did. I don't think that you and I physically sat down and watched the same film, because if you think that this film is an artsy, unforgettable film, then we don't have the same taste. I don't like, this was a bad movie. Like, again, I've said before that you, like, the budget we'll get into later here, but you do not have to have a shit ton. And it had promise. It did have promise, right? Without giving any spoilers away, the film was based on. I like when films try to take like common things and turn them into lore, ancient things, right? There's a lot of potential there, and they tried to do that with this. They tried to turn the concept of a clown into what made a clown eerie and evil, right? So it's like, okay, that's a cool concept. It's a cool concept, but no, right? It's like you had it, and you had the idea, but you didn't know how to deliver the idea. Everything about this film was bad. The acting, the plot, the pacing, like, it was all just bad. No, like, there was no good acting in this film. Again, Peter Stormare was probably the highlight of this film, and he was only in it for a little bit. But I mean, just the monster effects, like, and here's the thing, I'm very forgiving when it comes to certain things with gore, right? If a horror film does not warrant a lot of gore, if it doesn't need a lot of gore, I can give it a very average rating or even a low rating, but still give it a pass because it didn't need it, right? Because there are horror films that don't need to be gory. But if you're purposely trying to be a monster fest movie, a gore fest movie, a creature feature movie that has to have gore, if you're trying to be that and then you do it so underwhelming, I will call that shit out. And this film did that. It was a very underwhelming. It tried to be that. It tried to have an edgy undertone. It tried to be pushy on certain things. Even the concept of, like, I mean, I is not spoiling it because, I mean, it's in the synopsis of it. It's a clown that has a taste for kids, right? It wants to kill kids or eat kids or some shit, right? And it's just like, okay, I mean, that's kind of not new, right? I mean, we got that from Pennywise. That's not really, Pennywise did that and at least navigated those waters quite well. This, very poorly, very, very poorly. And the gore that they had in there was just, it was forced. Like, they wanted to get that R rating. Like, I believe this film was an R-rated film. And the only reason, let me make sure before I go into that, I believe it was, it's an R-rated film. So they were trying to get the R rating. They wanted to be like, oh yeah, we're a horror movie, so we're going to be edgy and we're going to have blood and gore. And it's just like, just because you throw a few curse words in there and then throw some mediocre gore in there does not make it a good horror movie. Like, it doesn't. Like for example, like, we can go and if we're talking clowns, which even is a more pantomime clown, but if we're talking clowns, we got to bring up Art. And if Art was not a good character, the gore would not matter, right? It wouldn't. It would not matter. If Art was not an interesting character, it would just be a gore fest. It would be a boring movie with a lot of gore. There are plenty of those. There are plenty of disgusting movies out there that just have no depth to them, that are not even fun to watch because they're boring. So it doesn't matter what kind of violence there is. You can rip somebody's face off and it's just like, whatever. Doesn't really matter if it has no concept to it. If there's no merit behind it. Or whatever, I don't know. Like, this movie, it was made for the sake of existing, I guess. Like, hey, let me throw another clown movie into the mix of already saturated clown movies. And it's just like, and here's the thing, making a clown movie when it comes to horror is a very, very challenging and risky thing to do, because there are so many out there. There are more failures than there are good ones. Right? We have Pennywise. Pennywise, for the longest time, was probably one of the most successful clown horrors there was. And now, mind you, I could say now there's Art. Art is a kind of different thing. He's not the same as Pennywise. So even Pennywise is still very, very relevant, because Pennywise and Art are not the same concept. Yes, they do follow the idea of a clown, or in Art's case, a pantomime clown or a mime. I think he's more of a mime than a clown, but it is what it is. When you do that, you run the risk of being like all the other ones that are out there. Like I get it. Clowns are, and even as a kid, for me, I didn't like clowns. I did not like clowns growing up. I had a really distaste in my mouth for clowns. They just did not sit well with me. They seemed creepy. I don't know. And even as I got older, when I was a teenager, I did some carnival work, and I did not like being around clowns. I just didn't like it. I don't really care too much now, but when I was younger, it was a little different. So to take a concept that is very eerie and does not sit well with a lot of other people, you can oversaturate it like clown horror movies are. You can oversaturate them and just be another generic, shitty clown horror movie. And that's exactly what this is. It's kind of ironic that the movie is called Clown because it's not even trying to be anything unique. Like, nothing. There's nothing unique about it other than the lore that they tried to go with, which I will not spoil. They tried to do some Nordic lore with this and to explain why the clown was what it was and where the clown's origin came from. And that was like the only promise that this film had. It was kind of really cool. And if they would have done something with that was actually relevant and worthwhile, that would have been great. Would have been awesome. But we didn't get that. We got this movie, which there's just so many things. Like, it was very lazy, very poor, very cheap, just all around bad. There was nothing good about this film. And with that, I want to bring, again, I want to bring up the budget for this film, okay? Because of how bad this film was. This film had a budget of $1.5 million. Okay. Where? Other than the filming was probably the most highlighted part. Like the film, the camera work wasn't super bad. Like, it wasn't horrible. But there were so many things wrong with this film. Like, even the decisions people made. Like, no one makes decisions. Like, the writing, there was no likable characters in this film. Like, there was no likable characters. They even did my boy Peter Stormare bad. His character wasn't even that interesting. And I love Peter Stormare. And they couldn't even do his character. This writer was just bad. Horrible character arcs, horrible character development. I didn't care about any of the characters at any particular point. Didn't care if people survived. Didn't care if people... I didn't care. I did not care about anything. They were uninteresting characters, very poorly written, very poorly acted, very poorly executed. Like, there's parts in the movie that just seemed like they were filmed just to fill in the time. It was just... And then, like I said, the decisions people made, they were so moronic. Like, they're unbelievable, unrealistic, and I get it, it's a movie, it doesn't always have to be, but I mean, come on. Some decisions you just go like, really? Is that the decision you're making? Really? Because that's what people do. And this movie just, it's bad. It's really, really bad. And now going back to the budget, with a budget of $1.5 million, I've said this a billion times, you do not have to have a huge budget to write a decent story. You don't. You could write a decent story and maybe have bad actors, and then I will give grief on the actors, but the story wasn't even good. Story wasn't even there. Story was shit. Like, they had a cool concept, and then they dropped the ball completely with it. Horrible. Horrible. Like, there's actors in this film that I knew. None of them I would call, like, blockbuster AAA actors. But I know them from other things, and they've done good in other things, especially Peter Stormare. I've seen him in plenty of things that he's done fantastic in. This, and again, he was the highlight of the film. When I seen him, his acting was on point. I didn't hate him as an actor in this. His character was boring, sure. It didn't really give him much. Like, the only person in this movie that actually really had something going for him, they didn't even really give him much screen time. Like, I don't know. I think they could have done much more. I don't know what I was expecting from this film. I really don't. I hate when synopsises hype a movie up. When there is no way that the people who made this movie and goes, yeah, this is going to be a great movie. Like, there's no way. There's no way that the people who made this movie knew that this was going to be like that. Oh man, this is going to be up there with the greats. No. And there are people who write, there's reviews out there. I've read some of them. There's people who wrote some of these reviews that are like, yeah, this is a great movie, unforgettable, a gore fest. And I'm just like, if this is your ceiling, if this is the movie you're saying is great, then what is below this film? Oh my God. Like, if this is your ceiling, if this is what's great, wow. Like, your ceiling is really low. You are the type of person who watches this movie, calls this a great horror film, but then watches other movies that are great horror films and goes, oh man, they were just too much. Like, you just need to get out of the horror scene. Like, if horror bothers you that much, just get out of it. Softcore fucking horror is just whack, right? I don't like it. I hate it, especially when it's trying to be more like, if you're trying to make horror that's not like, there are like I've talked about earlier when the series started, when we did the 2 seasonal episodes, I talked about Krampus, and yeah, that was more of a light-hearted horror film that's more for family, but that was what it was trying to be. It wasn't trying to be anything else. This movie wanted the R rating. It had an R rating. How the hell does it have an R rating? Right? Cursing and a little bit of blood. Is that like, because I've seen PG movies that had about the same amount as this, like PG, not PG, but PG-13. I've seen PG-13 movies with this level of shit before. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get when people make crappy ass movies and then try to play them off as great movies. Like, I've seen horrible ass movies that people are like, yeah, it's bad, we're sorry, but here it is. They didn't even try that with this. They were like, you read the synopsis, you read all the things, and you read the descriptions and interviews with these people, and it's just like, yeah, we think you're going to love this movie. It's a great piece of art. Like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was not. You like it, that's fine. But, I mean, obviously you're watching this to see how I felt about it. And this is definitely, it's not the worst film that I've watched by any means, but it is definitely... It's dog shit. It really is. I want to go into this before we have to go into the scoring. The box office, which the fact that this movie made it in theaters is beyond me. Blows my mind. But this movie actually made, now mind you, this had a budget of $1.5 million, and it made back $4,381,603 worldwide. Who is going to see this in theaters? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you did. If you feel similar to me and you actually went to the theaters to see this film, I am absolutely sorry. Good God damn, this was bad. If I would have went to the theaters for this, I would have wanted a refund. I would have wanted like 8 refunds for my time. Like, this movie was bad. Luckily, it's streaming on Netflix at the time. As of time of recording this, it is streaming on Netflix. I do have the rental information, as always. The renting of it is $379. Honestly, I would rather tell you to go, if you don't have Netflix, which most people do, but if you don't have Netflix, go get if you really must see this film, go out, get a month of Netflix, just so you can at least go watch some other shit and it won't be a complete waste of money, because $379 is a waste of money for this film, I think. I can't justify it. And then you go into the buy. They want $10 digital for this film. Nah. I'd rather drag my nuts across sandpaper than buy this film. It's so poor. Oh man. So yeah, if you can avoid it, I would say just if you don't have Netflix already, if you're the small group of people that don't actually have Netflix, get Netflix for a month. If you must see this film, watch this film and then watch a whole bunch of other shit, so at least the month of your subscription is not wasted, and then call it there. Don't rent this movie. Don't buy it. It's a horrible movie. And then on top of that, the runtime is 1 hour and 39 minutes. I actually had to split this up. I had shit to do in the day, and normally I would be like, damn, I don't like stopping in the middle of a movie and coming back to it later. And I had to do that with this film, and I was happy about the break, because I was halfway through the film and I was like, oh man, good, I could just take a break. That's where I was. That's what I had to do. Then I came back to it later, and that was still painful. So yeah, fuck this movie, right? This movie is bad. I'm telling you, again, I love Peter Stormare, and I really do hope I get to do other movies with him in it in this series. This is not one of his best ones by any means. And I mean, mind you, he's not the star of the film anyway, so he's just kind of cameoed in it, I guess you would say. But it's not bad. So with that said, though, I want to get into the scores so we can get the hell out of here. We actually did go a little bit further than the 15. I'm actually kind of proud of myself that we had managed to kill a little bit more time than I actually thought. So with that, let's get into the scoring. As always, we start off with story. I gave the story score of this film a 1.5. That's all I could do. That's all I could do. And the only reason it didn't get a pile was because of the lore factor. It could have been a great film. It could have had so much promise. It had promise. But then, I mean, it wasn't going to be it was never going to be a great film, right? It was never going to be a blockbuster film. But it could have done better than a 1.5. And it didn't. And the only reason it's getting a 1.5 and not a pile is just because the lore part of it was interesting. Everything else was just complete dog shit. Moving on. Let's give the score for acting. And the score for acting that I gave was a 2. Best I could do. Best I could do. Was it the worst acting I've ever seen? No. No means was it ever the worst acting. But man, was it bad. Again, not even Peter Stormare could do good in this film. This film was just all shit. And I love Peter Stormare. And I'm not saying his acting was good, but even he could not save this film. He could not carry this film on his back and save it. He couldn't. There's no way. No way at all. So yeah, bad acting. 2, not the worst acting by any means, but still not good acting. 2 is the best I could do. Moving on to the pacing. What did I give the score for pacing? I gave it another 2. Best I could do. 2 is all I could do. Like, it seemed like this movie, even though it was longer than it should have been, it was just trying to push its way. It was like, oh, we have to get this lore out of the way, but we don't want to spend too much time there. The actual promising part of this film was the lore, and they didn't want to spend enough time there. They could have went in so many different ways, and they didn't. The character development was poor. Didn't give a shit about any of the characters. None of them. The husband seemed like a piece of shit. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. I'm not gonna ruin anything for you guys, but he just did. So I don't know if you were supposed to feel good for him, feel bad for him, whatever. But who cares? The pacing, the pacing wasn't there. So yeah, I give it a 2. Let's move on to the gore score. Now, before I get into this, again, I'm very fair about it. Sometimes I will give a pass. Even if something has a low score, I will give it a pass if it did not need it. This film wanted to be a gory film. It wanted to be a gore fest type of film. And it did it so poorly and so bad. And it just 1.5. That's it. That's the best I could do. It wasn't the worst. But man, was it bad. There were so many bad things. I mean, listen, I'm just going to say, if you're going to put bones that are supposed to be people bones and it looks like a goddamn chicken bone, no, not good. Absolutely bad. It doesn't work for me, okay? 1.5 is the best I can do for the gore score. I couldn't give it a, I didn't like this movie so much. I want to be just mean about it, but I'm not. I'm trying to be fair. I couldn't give it a C. I couldn't give it a pile, even though I want to. I can't. It's not as bad as some other things that I weigh in the scale of bad. So I can't give it a pile, but man, was it close. It was really, really fucking close. Let's move on to the production. Now, usually the production is the redeeming parts of some of these bad films. Sometimes they just have good production, just everything else sucks. But I couldn't even give that. This one gets a 2. That's the best I could do. The production was bad. Makeup was bad. Acting was bad. Sound was bad. It wasn't the worst. Again, Big Top Evil probably was the worst one that I've ever done. Production-wise, like that movie shouldn't even exist. And we did that on the podcast. Eventually, maybe we'll revisit that here on Deep Cuts. But that was probably the worst one production-wise that I've ever done. This, still bad though. Especially with a $1.5 million budget. Should have been a little better than it was. Should have been. Was not good. There was nothing production-wise that was really good about this. This is just a poor movie, very underwhelming, very lazy, very cheap. Let's make a movie for the sake of making a movie. That's what this was. Let's get some people paid. That's really all that happened there. So with that said, let's move on to the overall score so we can get the hell out of here. What do I give the overall score for the film Clown? I give it a 3.5. That's it. That's the best I could do. There's, like I said, the spiteful part of me wants to just dog on this movie, but this is the fairest score that I could give it. 3.5. I never want to see this movie again. This is definitely going in the trash bucket. Boom. We're going to put that one there. When we talk about, eventually we're going to do some polls and we're going to talk about the good movies we watch and then the bad movies we watch. This is definitely going in that list of what the fuck movies. Absolutely 100%. But that is the show, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed sitting down with me and talking. With that, it is time for us to get the hell out of here. It is. It's time to go. Hopefully you enjoyed me bantering and shitting on this movie. If you've watched it and you disagree and you think this movie is a masterpiece like some other people, let us know down in the comments below and I will get back to you. I will get back to you guys as much as I possibly can. Join the Discord. The Discord is probably the easiest way to communicate with me if you want to. But yes, definitely leave comments down below. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Let me know what you thought about this film. Let me know down below because it's great to get feedback and it also helps us beat the YouTube and other platform overlords when it comes to the algorithms, okay? So leave your comments down below, like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, stay up to date with everything that we do across the board. Make sure to go to HuelessVision.com, HuelessVision.com to find this and more. It's all there, guys. Everything, merch store, everything. It's all there. Everything you need can be found on the website, so make sure to check it out. But with that, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Enjoy your weekend, guys, and I will see you on the next one. Until then, peace out, peeps.